Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good
Welcome.
morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's nice to wake up to a green day. It's quite amazing, actually. We've had a good close to yesterday, and coming into today, it's all going pretty much bananas. It's great to see. And you, what's
Could you
happening on
could
your
you
side,
could you
sir?
even could you even say like today is filled with a little bit of lunacy? Is that how exactly how we could say today? A little bit of lunacy going on. But no, I'm going good. Yeah, I'm going good. It's nice to see ETH pumping. That's the one.
Yeah.
Because I got a big bag of ETH, so that's the one I wanted to sing for me, baby. Sing for me.
So, I mean, we're obviously possibly seeing a proper build up to the merge. Today is the day you were saying earlier on that the green button's been pushed. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so basically like today's the day where whatever ETH dev is in control, they have literally pressed the green button now. So then the ETH merge can essentially happen in and or around the 15th ish of September. But it all depends if all the miners stay online. If some of the miners drop off, then it will be extended a little bit. But rough goal for it will be the 15th. But today's the day the green button was hit, and it's the moment when
Cool.
it's the TTD hits the very long large number that it needs to. That's when Bellatrix, which you're going through right now, clicks over into Paris. Paris is the destination, ladies and gentlemen, we need to get to in order for the merge to actually happen, to go from proof of work to proof of stake. So keep your eyes on
Cool.
Paris, man. That's the one.
So, I mean, this might be. I mean, dare I say it? I mean, this might be the pump that we've been waiting for. And in all intents and purposes, it seems like it's the logical thing that should happen. I mean, East looks steady. I think quite a lot of guys are sitting in the green. I was on Discord this morning, and the guys are happy. Their longs are looking good. I was obviously asleep when this thing started kicking in, but I don't think I would have opened a long. I've just been too many times bitten on them, and as we know, things can go south really quickly. But I really hope that we do see a continuation of this trend, this upward move, and I hope the guys make some cash. It's a long time coming, but for
Can't wait.
me, yeah, I mean, but for me, what's really been insane is just the whole Lunar Classic thing. As you said, the lunatics are out, and they're out in full force. And I'm a little bit confused as to why it's doing this, but I'm not as well. It's like, never underestimate the power of human psychology and how it plays out in the market. And it's just wow. I told you yesterday. I said, I mean, I think it was yesterday morning. I said to you, dude, this thing's gonna probably do like a 5 or 10x, and I have absolutely no idea why, but it probably is gonna do it, and it looks like it's well on its way. I don't know. I think it's really difficult to go and buy into these green candles right now. I think it would be crazy. I'm not particularly interested in doing that, but I mean, you were saying earlier on that you were reading. What were you reading early on about a guy's wife who bought how many for $400?
Oh yeah, some dude, I won't say his name on here, but some dude on Twitter, his wife bought the bottom like 400 US dollars. She just literally held it with conviction, and she has made absolutely. So I can find the tweet. She has made absolute bankroll. And one of his friends, oh yeah, so there you go. So big congratulations to all the lunacy believers, including my wife and Twitter name. So my wife got 14 million lunacy for 400 USD. She's been holding and making ridiculous X's. I'll just say redacted Twitter name made $1 million US, and I would have been up 350K in a week profits if I hadn't sold too soon. So lunacy is once again printing absolute millionaires. However, if you're feeling euphoric, take the goddamn profit, because as soon as you feel euphoric, it's like, yeah, rise. That's when you should, take a moment, check yourself, and hit sell.
Yeah, take some profits. So her $400 investment is sitting at $63,000 now, just by the way. So I think there's quite a lot of those cases. I think there's a lot of people out there that have seen the benefit of hanging in there. I know there's a couple of guys in our Discord that just didn't sell, at the bottom, just held on, and some even bought more. And yeah, I suppose fortune favors the brave, the stupid, and the patient in this regard. I mean, unbelievable stuff.
But remember, it goes the other way. Just look at how they got into the position where they could buy the bottom. The fact that it did first get absolutely, and there you go, look at that, Jesus Christ, mate. You don't even see shitcoin charts do that. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, this is something to behold, isn't it? I mean, wow. Anyway, so there's a lot of people out there that are smiling at the moment, and clearly there's a lot of people that are aping, and this thing just is continuing to go up. And imagine if this thing lands up becoming the darling, of this bear period, like the real darling, where it was the real rogue, and it might land up being the darling. Who knows? Let's see how it plays out. We'll keep our eyes on this, but just doing a little bit of a circle back on, ETH. I mean, ETH's looking really good at the moment. On
Before
the 4 hourly.
Just before we go balls deep into charts, and because we are still quite early on in the podcast, I just want to have a shout out, because Jedi and I are going to be co-hosts on the Zebu Live Twitter Spaces tomorrow. We're going to be interviewing. We're going to be a grand discussion with a lot of the top GameFi peoples, GameFi industry experts. So from Avocado Guild, there'll be from Gala Games, Chain Guardians, and a whole variety of other people. It's going to be tomorrow, aka Wednesday, at 1 p.m. BST. So UTC +1, I believe. And then later in the month, Jedi and I, we're actually going to go live in person to Zebu Live on the 22nd and 23rd of September. So if you are in London, or if you are flying over, do drop a message somewhere down there, or slip into the DM somewhere, and it'll be great to grab a couple of brewskis, or maybe like a nice cup of tea, because you're in my ends.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Looking forward to the conference. I think the Zebu Live crew seem to be on it, and yeah, we've been really fortunate to be in the mix with that thing. It looks super exciting, and I think getting people together under the same roof, away from computers, and just kind of interacting with one another. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what people are doing. One of the things that came up for me over the last couple of days is that, if you look at the 2017, 2018 period and 2018, 2019 bear market, we never had any of the level of building that's going on like we do now. There's a lot of stuff happening in the space, despite the fact that there's not a lot of trading going on, and the market is very depressed. There's a lot of building, there's a lot of interest, and we're obviously getting to see it firsthand, and really looking forward to seeing what comes out of that conference. And hopefully we'll have some alpha for all you guys when we get back, and then obviously during the conference as well. Yeah,
dude, we'll be bringing all kinds of alpha. And you're saying about people are building, the fact that in the first half of this year, institutes had invested over $30 billion into crypto. And that was more than the first half of last year, when we were experiencing a hell of a lot of green. So you can see a lot of people are hedging their bets on the technology that's being built now through this bear market. Huge.
Absolutely. And, it's easy for us to get caught up in, like the negativity of market sentiment, Ponzi this, Ponzi that, scam this, scam that. Yes, that is there, and there's a lot of it going around, but there's way more positive stuff in the space, and that positive stuff is translating into, protocols that are being built that are actually useful and have, use cases, GameFi that's looking to really change the way that, transactions happen on the internet within the gaming space. And yeah, I mean, we're going to obviously get firsthand, perspective on this, and we're going to obviously get an opportunity to speak to a lot of these players, not only tomorrow, but obviously at the conference as well. So yeah, try and make that spaces that we'll be hosting with the Zebu Live guys, and yeah, come around. Let's see what comes out in the mix. Okay, back onto charts.
Yes.
So Ethereum, you've got me onto the Heiken-Ashi. I love it. I love this indicator. It really does kind of smooth it all out, and it just gives you such a better perspective on what's happening. But yeah, I mean, obviously on the 4-hourly, we've had a great 24 hours, and hopefully it continues. It's just be lovely to see it go back to 2000. It's very doable. There's a bit of resistance at 17, just under 1750. But I think there's a very good chance that it can. And then obviously the mother of charts for the morning is, the ETH BTC chart. From that perspective, you can't really fault, this whole idea that, wow, look at that.
She is flying. You can just see, just generally, apart from like the big dipper we had in June, that has been so steady and strong in its crab in motion. It's been really good to see. And as Bitcoin dominance is coming down as well, it's nice to just see the positivity and the strength that's coming into the Ethereum network.
Yeah, I mean, I think the real, check at the alt index on FTX. It's also a really good indicator in terms of, the general alt market at the moment. I think my favorite tweet since Friday, since we obviously did our show on Friday, Saturday, is that Kobe posted a tweet around the fact that he had realized a number of all-time highs on on a lot of the coins that he was invested in. And you must see the brutal assault that he received on this post. Obviously Manifold Fold was one of those. I know that he had invested quite a substantial amount, and I think he actually 3 or 4 exits. Stand to be corrected. I don't know. I didn't get into the detail of it. But the reality of the situation is that despite the fact that we do have, this really depressed market, there are still opportunities in the market for you to make really good bank. You just got to be diligent. You got to have your finger on the pulse of everything. Being a part of the Blockmates community is part of that. I promise you, if you spend time in our Discord, you will also be picking up on this stuff. If you read our newsletter, you will be picking up on this stuff. I mean, Dan, you've made some calls. I mean, one of the calls that you made was Ethereum Classic.
Yeah, I've made a couple of great calls, but then I've not. It's like we were saying the other day, Dan, just take your own advice because you seem to be making some good things, but it all just makes sense. Ethereum Classic, I would see pumping a lot harder from now because all the miners are going to be wanting to use their GPUs one last time before everything gets shut down. And I can see ETH Classic. There you go. Look at that. I said it on Friday, and I think I said it earlier in the week last week when it was down in the low 30s. Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually quite insane, really. If you look at it from the midpoint, you got a 31% increase on that, for a weekend's work.
It's not bad.
And then obviously, if you had conviction from the middle of July around this merge, from the kind of narrative that you've you've been talking about. We're looking at 190%. So there's money to be made here. If you are dialed in, if you've got your finger on the pulse, you really can do well in this market. Obviously, I don't have the time. I'm busy doing other stuff. We're obviously busy with the stuff that we're doing at Blockmates, because you need plenty of time to obviously pull the trigger on this stuff. But there's guys out there that are really playing this market and are doing really well. I know a couple of guys that are at portfolio all-time highs, like for real.
Yeah.
Like really they are. I wish I was one of those. I'm not, and I'm not going to LARP that I am. But we've been making calls the last 6 or 7 weeks. We've been on the money with pretty much most of the stuff that we've called. This was one of them. I mean, I would never have had the conviction to get involved in this thing. Not for me. And I think to a certain extent, not to you either, despite that, I mean, we saw, just to kind of deviate a little bit. I mean, obviously what's really important and has been an important kind of aspect to this market has been the Dixie. The euro is taking an absolute beating here. And yeah, I mean, despite this thing doing what it's doing right now, crypto's looking pretty good. Let's see how it plays out over the next couple of days. It could all go to shit in 6 hours. We never know.
Yeah. And so I actually pulled out of a few things at break even. I think yesterday or the day before, I think I was talking to you yesterday morning about it. When I heard the news that Russia is still cutting the gas supply to Germany, that's a massive red flag. You can see the euro going dipping under $1. The Canadian dollar is just peanuts compared to the US dollar. So there's a lot of big red warning flags in the macro that I was like, okay, let's just play a little bit safer. But if you do have conviction on some of these plays, you can still make bank during a bear market. But I don't know. For me, my space right now, just play safe, learn more, and then slowly apply it. Trading's a long game. I'm personally in no rush at all.
Yeah, you've got aspirations to kind of get over this mediocrity trading. You want to actually become a good trader. That's your mission now, isn't it? You've pretty much drawn a line in the sand. I'm going to do the TRI course. I'm going to become a Brian Beamish disciple, which is a very good thing to do. I mean, there's a level of discipline there, and there's a level of important focus that will make you a better trader, irrespective of your personality type, irrespective of your beliefs. If you follow the principles that are laid out in that course, you'll be a good trader. Really isn't it really, but it's just whether you are prepared to do that Lord of the Rings quest, because it is very much that kind of quest.
It has been initiated.
Cool. So good luck with that. Let's see how it goes. I'm sure it'll go great. You are a pretty disciplined individual, so you'll get it right, I'm sure. So good luck, dude. Okay. What else are we looking at? Just something that came up for me that I think is quite important from a take profit perspective, and it's by no means to dunk on GMX. I think GMX is probably one of the best protocols and projects out there. But a couple of days ago, I started noticing that GMX is everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. Guys, when everybody's talking about it, just be cautious. Take some profits. Don't scale out of it completely. But generally what happens is that when you've got a whole lot of people talking about it, it's going to pump and then people are going to dump it. Just make sure that you're one of those people that's taking profit. And then you can buy back in later. So, I mean, it didn't really probably did a 15% drawdown from the point where I tweeted that. And is this a good time to buy? I don't know. I would be cautious. There could be further downside here because GMX is the kind of project protocol that has attracted, you know, a lot of big wallets. I mean, if you go and watch the wallets that are transacting on there, there's millions of dollar wallets, you know, that are coming in and out of that, and they can really hurt you. So just be aware, be wary, and be sharp. What else is on that list that you've got there, Dan?
It's mainly to talk about like Ethereum, because that really is the big topic and big narrative right now. So the fact devs hit green, everything's pumping, and this is where you can start to look at stuff that is in, you know, the Ethereum ecosystem, or something that's related to mining, because you've got to think one narrative now is miners are going to go and need to find something else to mine so they can put their or big systems to actual usage, right? So in my mind now, and this is me just like brain farting, like I'd be wanting to find mining or coins that are likely to be mined with that kind of kit now. Yeah, that's kind of where my thought process would be. Like, you're a miner, aren't you?
Yeah, so I mean, this is a discussion that came up in Discord the other day. One of the guys, also mines, has also got a small setup, and we were actually chatting about, you know, like, you know, do you go Raven Coin? So there's a website called whattomine.com, which basically looks at, you know, like all the different hash protocols and what, you know, is the most profitable to mine. And one of the coins that came up, and I'm having a little bit of a brainless moment, is Neoxa. So Neoxa's,
what I was going to say.
Yeah, so Neoxa is, you know, potentially, I mean, this could potentially be like Solid Alpha. So Neoxa, and Neoxa it's kind of similar to the ETH hash, which is obviously the ETH hash or ETH hash that Ethereum operates on. So the website is Neo. Let me just go there quickly.
And why would you mine it? What benefits are you going to get from mining this?
I'm not familiar with the protocol itself. I didn't actually scratch deeper than that. But it seems like it's pretty new on the market. It's been around for 7 days, and there's been a 260% increase in price. So there's a bit of a market out there. There's only two exchanges at the moment that are trading it. It's TXBit and Trade Ogre. But the way that it works is that it's very old school from a mining perspective, is that you've got to download the wallet, which then syncs with the entire network that is Neoxa. So your wallet is very much attached, kind of like to your old school Bitcoin wallets, your Electrum wallets, where you have to be synced with the entire network. So it really is kind of like early days for this thing. And in terms of its use case, I actually have no idea. So I do apologize. We like to bring information, but I didn't get a chance to kind of get stuck in there. But we'll get back to you guys on that. But Neoxa looks like it might be an option. But, you know, there's Raven Coin, there's a whole lot of others. So I think, you know, obviously Ethereum Classic is something that a lot of the guys are looking at. And it's probably going to land up being the one, you know, unless guys decide, listen, it's time to cash out, and they'll sell their hardware. My hardware is just too old to do that, because I've got legacy stuff. I've got 1070s. And they've done well. I mean, they've paid themselves off many times over. And yeah, I mean, it was always just a hobby, you know, for me from the Ethereum side of things. And yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, I suppose, where the guys are going to obviously find a use for those cards. And I don't know whether gaming is the option. So you're going to just have to mine, or, you know, try and sell them at a discounted rate to other miners. But yeah, there's some decisions that need to be made over the next week or two. I'll get back to you guys on that. I'll let you know what. Yeah.
Yeah, so just very, very quickly, just skimming through Neoxa. So Neoxa, so this is all completely like off script. I don't think we even thought about we were going to talk about this today. But Neoxa is essentially proof of work and proof of game. So it's POW and
Yeah.
POG. So POG is a new way for gamers to participate in blockchain technology simply by playing games. That sounds awesome. Until now, the mineable cryptocurrency communities and gaming communities have been separated by a graphic card shortage. With Neoxa, both these communities can come together and get a piece of the block. Oh, that's clever. Okay, that's definitely on the research list, especially if it's done like 200% already. That'll be interesting to see.
Yes, I mean the website's neoxa.net.
Yeah.
And yeah, they seem to have a compelling and like solid use case for it, so let's see how it plays out. And I mean, as soon as you get the support of the miners, it will really catapult the whole thing. So I mean, this is definitely in the crosshairs, there's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I think from a market watch perspective at the moment, we've obviously got we've got this merge coming up. We've got a whole lot of stuff that's popping. Like something that I'd like to talk about just briefly that I'm really feeling quite bullish about is Forex, which is the ticker, which is an Arbitrum coin. We spoke about Arbitrum season in our newsletter. And handle.finance is the website. So what the guys have done is that they've custom built an on-chain Forex protocol. And, a lot of guys are like, what's the point of Forex and the rest of it? Well, the point of Forex in this regard is that, and we'll get into it, I think it's something that we'll get into in the coming weeks, but just kind of scratching on the surface, you can basically use your ETH to borrow and then trade Forex on-chain. Advantages of that, well, you can borrow. Secondly, you don't need the KYC aspect. And it just affords you the opportunity to be able to trade crypto across, Forex. And I know that there's a lot of guys out there that trade both, and this is kind of like a one-stop shop in terms of being able to go into Forex and then, into perps. If you're trading on GMX, I think the guys are actually planning to bring perps into the whole mix as well from the Handle Finance perspective. And, Handle Finance, I think, is 300%, 400% off its lows. And I think it's another 800% off its highs. So I think there's a lot of growth there. I mean, it's only got a market cap of around 45 million at the moment. So I'm feeling particularly bullish on this one. And it's got a use case, guys. It's not just another freaking Ponzi, It's like you can actually use it to do stuff. Dude, you must see their app. You must see their mobile app. It's fucking awesome. It really is. It's like they've built this thing from scratch. It's not just some kind of plug and play. I like what the guys have done. And I look forward to, covering it over the next couple of weeks and months, and seeing where it goes. And I think they'll be around for a long time. So that's my little bit of alpha for the morning. Take it or leave it. And remember, guys, none of the stuff that we chat about here is financial advice. Not from us, bro. Not from us. No, hell no.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
So I mean, I think the real stuff to look forward to over the next couple of weeks is just what happens after the merge as well. I mean, I think that's also going to be, like this whole kind of deflationary narrative around ETH. I mean, what are your thoughts around that? I mean, do you think that we'll continue seeing an increase in the price? I mean, I mean, I know what you want and what you would like, but what do you think will happen? Because generally what happens is you get to sell the news and, we kind of like go back to more of the same.
Yeah, I think we saw sell the news when we hit 2000. I think we'll definitely get it again throughout this month. But it's going to be interesting to see how, in theory, like some of the tokenomics of Ethereum will change. If miners are bringing in 13,000 a day, and I think staking, from memory, was going to bring about, and I don't want to say the number, but it was definitely in the newsletter, it's going to bring a lot more in. And at the rate at which Ethereum gets burned, it should, in theory, just level out completely. What happens after? I don't know. I think we pump up 1,800 to 2,000, and then we come back down, because I think macro will kick in, and all the bad stuff that's going on around the world will kick in, and those people who have played the market right will take their profits, so then they can, survive and thrive for the next 6 months. I think if we pump up over the next few days and then dump, but also watch what Dixie, S&P, and Nasdaq are doing, and then the US dollar dominance chart.
So the lesson that I learned, and I actually agree with what it is that you're saying. At the same time, I think what we need to consider is this lesson that was learned through that Kobe post, is that there really are opportunities. There are diamonds in these bloody streets. And whether it translates into an Ethereum Classic or a Luna Classic, or whether it doesn't matter what it is. The thing is that human nature and psychology and the craziness of it all will always encourage placing bids. I didn't want to say gambling, because it's kind of like, but you know what I mean? It's like, it really does kind of bring about that aspect of human nature. People always want to kind of push the envelope, and I think we're going to see that. And there's going to be money to be made, and it's always going to come down to, how good is your research, how good is your intel, and how aware are you of what's going on. And if you've got those three going in your favor, there really is plenty of opportunity in this market. And I think it really is a far cry from where we were in 2018, 2019. This is, in many ways, it's similar, and in many other ways, it's very different. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot more like willingness and participation by players, and they're not scared. They're not scared to put their money down, but then they're also not scared to take their money out. So you've got to really be careful from that perspective. I mean, obviously we've been speaking about that a lot. Take your profits, guys. If there's a lesson that's been learnt by the guys that have been doing this for a long time, or longer than you, is that you've got to take your profits. If you don't do that, you're going to end up getting caught with your pants around your ankles.
And don't cope as well. Like, if you've sold and it goes up afterwards, don't cope about what you could have had or what you might have had, because that's irrelevant. And I was doing this when I've been selling like some Ethereum. I was like, oh shit, I should just wait 20 more minutes. Oh, damn it. But it's like, okay, cool. Up until that point in time, my reasoning and justification in my mind was valid. So I was happy with that decision that I made, because the reasons were the reasons, and it was necessary at that point in time. Could you have held it? Yeah, but don't cope if it goes higher, because you'll be thankful if it goes lower,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's not about what ifs and maybes and buts. It's not what it's about. It's about, like you doing this TRI course. The one aspect of the TRI course that is probably the most important part of it is that you've got to keep a journal. You've got to keep a journal, and your journal is, what is your plan? Like, that is super important. So it's like, how do you feel? What are you doing? Like, what is your decision? Why are you trading what it is that you're trading? And then what is your plan? And you got to stick to your plan. Like, your plan is, I'm going to go in at $10 and I'm going to sell 30% of my position at $14, and then the other 30% at $17, and then the other 30% at $20, and then I'm going to keep 10% and see where it goes. That's my plan. If you deviate from that plan, regardless of how well the whole process is going, and you deviate, you are going to lose at some point in time, because you are not conducting the most important element of trading, and that is discipline. If you don't have discipline, dude, don't get involved. It's one of the reasons why I'm not a great trader, is because I just don't have the bloody discipline. I know the theory. I could spout the theory all day long. But the discipline is what makes me a mediocre to shit trader, because I don't have enough of it. And that's like probably the single most important thing that I need to exercise in this whole thing. I'm very good at bankroll management. I mean, I know how to manage my bankroll. Like, I'm really good at that. I learned that when I played poker. I had some of the most successful poker players come to me for bankroll management advice. I'm very good at it, but that's just because I'm just super careful with managing my money. But when it comes to the discipline of a trade, I'm hopeless.
So what you're actually saying here is, if you pay me a very small monthly fee, I can give you a large sum of money and you can go trade that for me.
No, please don't do that.
Or is that a Ponzi?
No, that could be no, it's not a Ponzi. It's just kind of like a sure way to lose money.
And if you've been on crypto Twitter the last 24 hours, you will understand what that reference is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, guys, don't fall for scams. Come on, like, seriously, if someone's offering you like a really good deal on something, and it's somebody that you don't know, and even if it's somebody that you know in real life, don't give them your money. You know, it doesn't mean because they're offering you an opportunity that just seems too good to be true that it is in fact going to happen. Just be aware. I mean, you're 100% right, Dan. It's kind of like, don't do it, guys.
Dude, if you give me $500 today, in 35 days from now, I will give you $100,000. Now, is that not a good deal, ladies and gentlemen? You just have to prove yourself in that time.
Yeah, that's going to end badly. It's going to end badly where you're not going to get anything back from that.
Yeah, we won't LARP on too much, just in case like we get bad juju. But yeah, stay safe. Yeah,
you got to stay safe. Just kind of closing out today's stream. Mr. Grant, Blockmates himself, couldn't make it today. He sends his apologies. But we actually insisted that he take another day off. He was getting quite grumpy. So the guy just has no clue on how to, just kind of like portion off his time. So yeah, I think he was getting a little bit burnt out, been writing too much, been commentating too much on the markets. I think he's probably done about 20 interviews in less than 2 weeks. So we said, listen, take another day off. So
I just hope, for the love of God, he's balls deep in booze and beer.
I think
babes and burgers and just, it's like the same. Beers,
are you wanting
burgers?
Are you wanting to live vicariously through him, Dan? Is that what this is?
I spent 3 months in Thailand doing that. Like, my body is having a break. It really, okay, beers, birds, boys, and burgers. That's what it was. There's a fifth B, but we won't speak about that.
Okay, good. And then, we obviously would appreciate that you like and subscribe. We really would. And then also our newsletter. Tell us about it. Come on, dude. I know you're dying to.
Oh, dude, yeah. We hit 1,000 subscribers the other day. So we went from 0 to 1,000 in just under 6 weeks, which is huge. We've got a viewership. We get over 50% actual open rate. And then the click rate of stuff that's in there is over 5%, which is double industry standards throughout. So it is, people are obviously reading it, and it's great. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
We've got some big things coming. We did make some changes when we moved from one platform over to Substack, which is sweet. And then, I'm going to be sending out later this week a little bit of feedback form, because we want to know what you want to see in there. Is it more short form? Is it more long form? You know, do you just want a shed load of alpha that's not at the bottom, so you have to scroll to the bottom and you just put it at the top? But I will send that round probably a little bit late this week. But dude, subscribe. It means the world to us all. It means that we can keep just giving alpha, and we know that the alpha is, you know, the alpha is good.
Yeah, I mean, just from a you know, from a numbers perspective, you know, how do we actually make money out of the whole thing as well? We get someone who will advertise in the newsletter. You know, it takes up a bit of real estate in the newsletter itself. You know, we manage to pay our bills, and we can pay ourselves a little bit of money, and then you guys can get all this content. You know, all it is, it's going to be one ad. You know, at the moment, you know, we've got someone who's advertising with us. They're called Deal. They basically employ devs, managers, all that, project managers, all that kind of stuff within the tech space. You know, they're essentially an employment hub, and they're our partners. They've been kind to come on board. We've got an affiliate program with them, and that's, you know, that's kind of like, you know, the advertising that we do. And we'll never, you know, have flashing lights and all that crap. I think you guys know us by now. But we do need a little bit of it so that we can obviously pay the bills, and, you know, you guys subbing allows us to do that. So we do appreciate, and we do appreciate you. Cool. That's it from us. Take it easy, guys. Stay safe.